All right, this news just coming in from our friends at ESPN. There is going to be college game day at Georgia-Ohio State. Not really a surprise, but it is breaking news, and it's something that ESPN released by email on Monday at a little bit before noon. Says College Game Day will wrap up the 2022-23 football season with special editions originating from the college football playoff semifinal at the Peach Bowl on Saturday, December 31st from 9 to noon, ahead of number one Georgia against number four Ohio State showdown for the national championship spot. The show will close out the season at the college football playoff national championship on Monday, January 9th from 9 to noon before the big game, which starts at 7:30, which out there in LA will be a 4:30 kickoff. So prepare yourselves for that. We have some dog instructions. A lot of people are getting them. Make sure you're getting them now, not next Monday. I'll still bring it up, but it's easier for me to send them to you now. There's no question about if you'll get it for Christmas if you get them now. So if you're thinking about it, get it now. But I think that this is, first of all, just because something, it's not surprising at all that Georgia Ohio State would get game day. Um, it's the bigger of the two games because TCU's not playing in it. And I don't mean that bad towards TCU. I mean, you have three, television monsters in this thing, and then you have TCU. So they're going to originate from Atlanta. They know what they're doing with this game. They know how to put it on at the around the dome, inside the dome. ESPN understands with the SEC network, with game day. If the ACC network, if the ACC were in this, they would have the ACC network there. A year ago in Miami, game day was there for Georgia, Michigan as well, and you had SEC network on the 300 level doing their post game and pregame, and obviously the main show was gosh, you know what? I don't know quite where that was. Maybe somebody can tell me, but I don't recall it being inside the stadium. But game day was in Miami. That much I remember. I just don't remember where it was. You have to remember, a year ago there was a surge in COVID, and we really were not permitted to do the bulk of things that we've done in the past at college football playoff games or New Year's Six games. So it was a very odd thing. We did not have a post game that was on Zoom, which is so strange because the next morning we did a in person with Kirby and Stetson and everybody. You'd think you could do the post game the same way, but I don't know. We won't be dealing with any of that this year. And you know this, that game day is going to be there. Spikes the football on what should be the second most watched game in college football this season. Number one will be the national championship game. This will be number two. Number three will be Texas Christian and Michigan. And then number four will be Ohio State, Michigan from earlier in the year. But these teams are television behemoths, and it's hard to put in words just how big a deal Ohio State Georgia will be because once you start talking about those two brands, they are as big as it gets. Alabama is the biggest of the three that I always talk about, but it's hard to escape. I'm going to read to you right now the most watched football games in college football this season so far. Number one, Michigan, Ohio State, 17.1 million viewers. Number two, Georgia, Tennessee, 13 million viewers. Number three, Alabama, Tennessee, not 11.5 million viewers. That's not about Tennessee exclusively. That's about Alabama, Tennessee. Number four, Georgia, LSU. So, and then number five, Michigan, Purdue at 10 million. Georgia, LSU at not quite 11 million viewers. So why does that matter? What's the big deal? Of the 10 largest audiences, this season, Ohio State was in 3 of them: Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State. Those are all huge brands that we just talked about. Georgia in 2 of the 10 most watched games. Well, two of the 4 most watched. Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Alabama, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss. These are all, and then let me not forget Michigan, who is just as big as anybody. Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue, and that was it for Michigan. The Big Ten championship game, and then of course the Ohio State game for Michigan. These are all gigantic brands. The only game that was in the top 10 this year, y'all, that did not include Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, or Alabama was Texas Christian and Kansas State. That was 9.4 million viewers watched that game. I have for decades watched with curiosity about television as I've become a reporter over the years. It's been something that I've really paid attention to. Georgia is in a real big fight now for eyeballs, and it sets the stage for everything that comes after that. You notice I didn't say USC. The only game with Texas in there was their game with Alabama. There are legit brands that are out there in college football: Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. This year, Tennessee. So you're not going to get the audience of Georgia, Ohio State. It brings the two of the most watched programs together. Two of the 3 most watched over the last 10 years have been Ohio State, Georgia. They've not played each other, and now they're playing each other with it all on the line. So it makes sense that College Game Day will be there. It also makes sense that they put this game in prime time. I mean, this is what it's about anymore. Folks, oh, college football is changing, and I don't like it. Some people like it. I mean, people are watching in record in ways they didn't in the 90s and the 80s and the 2000s. There's just more college football fans. And what I would say to you, if you don't like the portal, or you don't like NIL, or you don't like, is there something else that's happening? I can't. Oh, Texas and OU changing, and then the Big 12. I don't know, y'all. I mean, the sport is a big deal, and it doesn't take these moments don't change because Keely Ringo has an NIL deal. This still matters a lot to Kirby. Okay, these guys are still working. It's not that they're not working; they are. And change, although uncomfortable, is usually good. Usually, not always. Usually, and the 2 old men and the Muppets, they're always complaining about stuff. I just don't know what to say about it after a while. I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it. It's, you know, this is our sport and it's going to change, or this is our sport and I can't bear to watch it anymore. I'm going to go watch baseball because it's pure. Well, that was a lie, right? So, or the NFL has got too much social justice. NFL is getting watched in a record number. What are you talking about? You know? So I don't know. If you don't watch, folks are not going to be bothered by that. The college football is going to keep moving on, and it should. It should. Um, and it's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger because in the round of in the 12 team playoff, I can assure you when you talk to people on background about this, whether they're administration folks or in the bowls themselves, or if they're coaches, they knew a 12-team playoff was coming. They knew it was coming before the championship games occurred, and it was announced 2 days or a day before the championship games, whatever it was. So everybody knows it's coming. Well, I can tell you this right now: Fox is going to be involved in the college football playoff, and that means more exposure. That means bigger audiences, and that means the fight. No one hypes things more than Fox. They know totally what they're doing. They're very good at it. That is a brand that they've used in sports for a long time, whether it's NASCAR or Major League Baseball or football in the NFL, they have always gone the way that they feel like they want to go. They're not worried about what the traditional big three in media and television have always been. Fox is going to do it their way. Well, you've got a whole audience there of 17 million people that watched that Big Ten Ohio State game. Michigan, Purdue, Big Ten on Fox, 11 million people. And then you had Ohio State, Penn State, which I believe was on Fox. Yes, 8 million people. CBS is going to be gone. Those games are going to be on Disney. They're going to be on ABC triple headers. But Fox is going to, now you're going to have not just ESPN promoting the college football playoff. Now you're going to have Fox and News Corporation. And, this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Ohio State, Georgia in 5 to 10 years is going to be bigger than it is now. I'm just telling you, I'm letting you know. And college football has a lot of money slushing around. And that's going to continue to make the sport bigger as well, because there's a lot of things, there's a lot at stake right now. So I think that college game day, which has said here in this release that it was the quote most watched regular season ever. They have a direct competitor now with Big Noon. I'm sorry, Fox. I don't know what it's called. Fox Big Noon, whatever it's called. But they're saying that they had an 8% increase from a season ago, and that is the most watched regular season of college game day ever. The sport's not in trouble. It's thriving. And that Georgia and Ohio State will see game day for Georgia in this case again is a good thing.